This video will review the purpose of and how to complete the final placement evaluation form. You may want to review the video on competency rating to support your completion of this evaluation. During the last week of placement, students and preceptors will set aside time to complete and discuss this evaluation. The final placement evaluation form lists the competencies and performance indicators specific to the placement. A similar version of this form is used for placements in nutrition care, population health promotion, food provision, and for the practice-based project or research project. All final placement evaluation forms contain learning objectives related to professionalism and ethics, communication and collaboration, management, and leadership. The intent of this form is for the student to reflect and document the learning activities and their experiences in the placement, for the student to document their level of performance at the end of the placement across the competencies, and for the preceptor to reflect on and document the student's level of performance, focusing on their level of performance at the end of the placement across the competencies. It is expected that the student will show growth and improvement from beginning to the end of the placement. How to complete the evaluation form. The student completes the student rating and the evidence portion of the evaluation. Students, this is a long form. Spend a few minutes each day journaling what you've learned. Add this to your evaluation form regularly. Do not leave this form until the last minute. In the evidence column, document specific examples of activities or experiences that you've had that supports your performance rating. If you do not document your experience, then it didn't happen. The evidence should be concisely presented in 1 or 2 bullets. When you are documenting your evidence statements, consider one practice activity can involve the application of several competencies and could therefore be used as evidence across multiple performance indicators. For example, conducting a nutrition assessment requires the application of several nutrition care performance indicators, as well as professionalism and ethics, and communication and collaboration competencies. When you are reflecting back on your placement experience, consider all the potential competencies that you may have met through your placement activities. For example, by completing a project in a population health promotion setting, you may have also met several performance indicators in the management and leadership domain. At the end of the evaluation form, there is a section where you can add additional performance indicators along with your performance rating and evidence that you feel that you have met through your placement activities. Reflect on your performance in the placement, focusing on the last week of placement, and complete the student rating column using the performance rating standards. In the comments, acknowledge the contribution made by your preceptor to your learning. The student will submit the partially completed final evaluation form to their preceptor in the last week of placement or at a mutually agreed to time. The preceptor then completes the evaluation. The preceptor will review the evidence documented by the student. When applicable, the preceptor can advise the student regarding alternative and/or additional evidence to support the performance rating. The preceptor will complete the preceptor rating column using the performance rating standards and considering the level of the student's performance at the end of the placement. Preceptors may also document comments in the preceptor comments box located at the start and at the end of each competency section. Comments are desired, but are not required. The Ryerson website has a resource that outlines several examples of practice activities that could be used to address each performance indicator. Students and preceptors can type the letter corresponding to their performance level rating in their performance rating box to document their evaluation. That is E for exposure, S for supervision, M for minimal supervision, and C for competent. NA indicates that this experience was not applicable in the placement. Set aside some time in the last week to come together and discuss the completed final placement evaluation form. Students, before you meet with your preceptor, reflect on the level of your performance in the placement. Where have you demonstrated improvement? What are your learning priorities moving forward to the next placement? Preceptors, discuss the completed form with the student. This is an opportunity for you to highlight the student's strengths and to identify specific steps for them to improve their performance. Once the form and discussion are complete, the final placement evaluation form should be signed by the student and preceptors. By checking the response box at the beginning of the form, you're verifying that the information is true and correct. The check response box is accepted as a replacement of a handwritten signature. The signed and completed form is emailed to the dietetic education coordinator. This can be done by either the student or preceptor. Please ensure to include everyone in the email, that is the student, the preceptor or preceptors, and the DEC, so that everyone has a copy. The student will upload the completed final placement evaluation form to their OWL Dropbox. The DEC, or Dietetic Education Coordinator, will review the submitted final placement evaluation form. Any concerns will be directly addressed with the student and/or the preceptor. The DEC is looking for trends in your performance evaluations that indicate the student is improving their dietetic skills over time and meeting all performance indicators through their placement activities. In order to meet the program and registration requirements, students need to demonstrate competence across all performance indicators. That is to say, they need a C rating on every item. Each placement context is different, so having a C rating in the same indicators across multiple placements is important to demonstrate your overall readiness for dietetics practice. Preceptors and students are invited to contact the Dietetic Education Coordinator to discuss the evaluation findings or at any point during the placement to discuss the evaluation process or performance concerns.